Hello and welcome to another edition of Thunder Insider presented by Integris Health. I'm Kelly Kroll, your host, and with me in studio today, Chris Silver from Thunder.nba.com. We'll of course hear from Grant Long, Matt Pinto, and Brian Davis a little later in the show as they continue on the Thunder's road trip, a trip that saw a 19-point comeback in Minnesota. What impressed you most about the effort in that game, Chris?
Two things stood out. One, just because they were down 19 points, I mean, people could have started freelancing, players could have tried to play the hero, and we didn't see any of that. Everyone stayed within themselves. That was impressive. The second thing was the defensive, the commitment to the defensive end in the second half. I mean, that was, Scott Brooks said, as good as it gets this season.
You speak of staying within themselves, and I really thought something that stood out to me in that game, the tempo that the guys off the bench set and really got things going. And when the starters were able to come back in after they'd gotten that first blow, it really just kept the momentum going. And it seems like every night we're mentioning another name, a different player having a standout game. But what about the guy who, with or without mention, continues to put together consistently strong performances? Coach Brooks says that guy is Jeff Green. A career-high 37 points in the Thunder's triple overtime win at New Jersey aside, it's Green's steady play that coaches and teammates have come to expect.
Wing left now, Green slashes the lane, up and under, finger rolls home, a right-hand beauty. Green for three, got it!
He's part of our big three. He's a space four that can shoot threes and score at the block.
Green going to go to work on the block, isolated against Tolliver. Spin baseline, goes left-handed score. Perfect execution.
Last year I was very inconsistent with my shot. This year I tried to be consistent and not take as many, but come open, being able to knock it down. And I just take what the defense gives me.
KD sets up Green, yes sir, for three.
Jeff is solid. That's a great word that we describe Jeff. He's solid. He understands what we do, and he doesn't really. Very rarely does he try to do more than he's capable of, but he's a solid player. He makes good plays for us.
I don't like to be, underneath one position because I have a lot of dimensions in my game, whether it's in the post or on the perimeter. So I just try to, do the best I can, just being a player, creating different mismatches on the floor.
What I love about Jeff Green is that he loves a challenge. He can play the 3 spot, the 4 spot, and they've even put him at the 5 spot sometimes this year, and he's really beginning to relish the fact that he can use his strength and his quickness to his advantage no matter where he is on the floor.
Yeah, and I just want to make a quick point. In that triple overtime game, the Thunder doesn't get to that third overtime without the way he played in the second overtime, which hit those big shots and those free throws. But it all goes back. Jeff, this season, I think we're seeing more of an inside-out attack from him. I mean, obviously everyone knows he's got that jumper, but he's been working with Mark Bryant. Jeff told me a couple of weeks ago that he's like, I've always had a post game, but now we're just seeing him use a little bit more of it, I think, this season.
Feeling more confident in that lower post area, basically, is what you're saying. Another guy feeling, I think, a lot more confident these days. We've gotten to see James Harden now really start to use his aggressiveness on the court, do a few more things that I think we were all waiting on, and now we're seeing it.
Yeah, and Scott Brooks put it bluntly, the difference in James over the last few games is, he's taking the open shot. Mm-hmm. He's not passing up shots anymore. He's being more assertive with the ball in his hands, and just like we're seeing right here, I mean, he's taking it hard to the lane. He's getting to the free throw line a lot more, something that we saw in the Orlando Summer League. I mean, he just dominated from the free throw line, just getting into the lane, getting to the line, and obviously defensive end, when he's playing behind the guy like Thabo Sefolosha, he's gonna have to step in and fill in admirably for Thabo, and he's doing that, and he's continuing to work on the defensive end like everyone else.
I agree with you, and I think confidence for James was such an issue, and I think that with his teammates and his coaches telling him, shoot the ball, he's really taking advantage of that now. In just the first quarter of this young season, the Thunder has had us on the edge of our seats in games like their triple overtime win in New Jersey. We've seen career highs in steals from Thabo, a new rebounding mark for Russell, and Serge reaching new heights in blocks. With the first portion of the season in the books, we turn to Brian Davis, Grant Long, and Matt Pinto.
The first quarter of this season has been a particular challenge to the Thunder's coaching staff. Already through the first 20-plus games, fellas, they've had to deal with more injuries, particularly to their starting lineup, than they did all of last season.
And I think it's a credit to some of the guys on this roster that in differing roles, they still have found a way to contribute. Serge Ibaka has been asked to start a handful of games. James Harden a couple on a road trip that wound up seeing the team beat Boston and Milwaukee. So, Grant, this club, even though it's young, has shown an ability to adapt.
Well, I think, and as you talked about, the silver lining in all of this adversity is the fact that some guys get to step up, get a chance to play earlier in the season than they would have if it was later in the season. Now Scott Brooks has an opportunity to say, okay, if something else comes up, I know who I can count on.
Along those lines, what else stands out to you guys? I'll give you one example. Thabo Sefolosha, the last couple of weeks, has been handling the basketball the way that we never see him do in the NBA. Now, he did that an awful lot. In fact, guys who saw him play in Europe say he can really play above the rim, but Sefolosha has picked up his game on the offensive end to compensate for the loss, most especially of Kevin Durant, and for that little stretch of Jeff Green.
Well, when you ask that question, Brian, in flashing neon lights, it's number 0 to me. I mean, Russell Westbrook's improvement has just been staggering. It's got the entire league talking. Grant, to elevate your scoring average by nearly 9 points a game at any point, given how well he was last season, scoring it at over 16, is pretty remarkable.
I shudder to think that this young man has been holding back on us, but I don't think that's the case. Obviously, I think it's a matter of giving the team exactly what it needs. They needed scoring. Russell stepped up when they need him to distribute the basketball. He's able to do that. He's had a perfect balance, I believe, of making things happen when the team needs him to.
You know, one of the things, guys, I think that has been indicative, a hallmark, I'm not sure exactly what the word is, or at least escapes me at the moment, but this team has been a little bit inconsistent. But I think you can go back and say, well, every time you've got to play drop add, you've got to figure out how all the other pieces fit, and that's not an automatic thing for a coaching staff.
Well, there are 2 C's that a coach and really a team and its fans need to really desire. One is chemistry, the other is continuity. This team had both a season ago, and those contributed in a huge way to them winning 50 and getting nearly to the second round of the playoffs. And Grant, when you've got to mix and match the way that they do, even when you have practice time between games, it's not an easy thing on this level.
It's not easy, but I guarantee you ask any coach in the NBA and in professional sports, would they rather have that problem or have the problem of not having enough guys who are talented enough to fill those roles? That's not a problem that Scott Brooks has. He's got a very talented reserve group who can fill in at any point in the season, and I think that's what he's most happy about.
But fellas, and Kelly, if you look at the bottom line for the Thunder through the quarter pole, I would say that Oklahoma City has more than held its own.
Ahead on Thunder Insider.
The last 2 or 3 years they've been here, they're good in the community, and I like that out of the team, so I try to help them when they have something like this going on.
Now back to Thunder Insider, only on Fox Sports Oklahoma.
As part of the Thunder's Holiday Assist program, the organization and Hooters hosted a toy drive benefiting the Salvation Army. Thunder fans responded by donating 950 toys, as well as over $10,000 to help create a Merry Christmas for those in need.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. We wanted to get involved with the Thunder on a charitable level, and so we partnered up with the Thunder and the Salvation Army to do a toy drive. We presented the Salvation Army with $10,000 on top of the 100 toys or so that we brought in at the stores, and then we're excited to see how many toys we bring in.
I just feel like it's something that we need to do for the community. It's for the children.
I like kids, and every time I see a kid happy with a toy, it makes me happy. And this time of year, everybody needs some joy in their life. There's more out there misfortunate than I am, so I try to help when I can.
This year we'll assist over 8,000 families. That's a lot of kids that will get assistance who otherwise wouldn't have had a very bright Christmas.
I just feel like the Salvation Army does a great job, and helping the kids out for Christmas is a great thing.
The last 2 or 3 years they've been here, they're good in the community, and I like that out of the team, so I try to help them when they have something like this going on.
People are responding like crazy. Thunder fans are driven. They come out and they donate extremely conscientious and charitable folks, so we appreciate that very much.
Merry Christmas.
What a wonderful event. 8,000 families benefiting from all that help. And you know, as simple as it seems, solid basketball fundamentals can be the formula to success. As Coach Brooks and company explains, there's really just one basic key that makes their half-court offense run: ball movement.
5 to shoot. Corner left Harden. Slithers right. Sets up Sefolosha. Baseline right. Maynard at the shot clock. Buzzer. Switches a 13-footer. The Thunder whip it around the horn and get it off in the nick of time.
We want to continue to move the ball. That's how we have to play. We have enough scores on our team for everybody to touch the ball.
Sefolosha gives it up. Westbrook. Oh, this is great rotation. Harden for 3. Yes, sir!
It's important. You know, it builds chemistry on the team.
Coach Brooks definitely emphasized making good passes and making 4 or 5, passes to get a good shot in. sometimes not needed for a 5, but it's also good to have it.
We try to aim at a number of assists every game, try to be around that 20, 25 area.
Top of the key, Westbrook. Run out by Curry, spins. Dumps it inside to Ibaka, hangs and banks up and in the layup. Russell Westbrook has his 13th assist.
Russell's done a great job of moving the basketball and getting assists.
I still got to balance, figure out how I can be more aggressive and at the same time be able to still get my teammates involved.
I'm glad that KD brought up that assist number because really in the last 4 games, in fact, the times where they've hit that 25 assist mark, they've won both of them. When they didn't, they lost the games. But that includes everybody, not just Russell Westbrook, although he does a phenomenal job, but that's everybody passing the ball around.
Yeah, and obviously assists aren't the only thing you judge a good ball movement on in an offense that flows. I think we saw, though, against Minnesota, James Harden had 6 assists. I believe Kevin Durant had 6 assists. It's about, being in the right place, having good floor spacing, and making the extra pass.
A lot of the times that tempo, however, does begin and end with Russell Westbrook.
Ahead on Thunder Insider.
What does basketball mean to you?
It means a lot. I can't, say one word that describes it all. It's just, it's just my life and what I love to do.
Welcome back. Russell Westbrook is putting together a career year across the board with averages like 24 points, 5.5 rebounds, and almost 9 assists a game. The numbers speak for themselves, but as our Grant Long found out, there's more to the 2-time Western Conference Player of the Week than just his stats.
Describe to me in your own words what makes a Thunder player.
A Thunder player is kind of like somebody with a nice personality, gets along well with a group, and ready to play.
The dictionary has the word team described as a collective group going and trying to achieve the same goal. In your estimation, what does the word team mean to you?
Team for me means just, playing together all times, having each other's back, kind of like a brotherhood. It's a similar word for me, is what I use, is, we all get together. We all eat together. We all, go hang out together. Try to stay close as possible for when you go on the court, everything flows right.
On the wing, Westbrook jab stepping back behind the 3-point line. Count it.
Your first year, you took a lot of 3-point shots. Your second year, you didn't take a lot of 3-point shots. Are you looking to shoot the ball from the outside a little bit more? Or you
if it's open, I'll take it. And, for me, it's more getting in the paint and trying to get my teammates open and get them open shots.
Coming up, or even as a young man now, who was your mentor?
I'll probably say my mom and my dad. They always basically taught me, what's wrong and what's right, and I kind of just followed their lead, and that's how I've been.
Bellinelli gives it up. Westbrook stumbles. He's got 2-on-1. He's going to drive Paul completely out of the picture.
What does basketball mean to you?
It means a lot. I can't, say one word that describes it all. It's just, it's just my life and what I love to do.
Durant bottled up by Jefferson, feeds mid-post to Westbrook. Plows to the middle, leans in, jump, hooks, and knocks down a 7-foot beauty.
When did you realize that you had something special? Everybody plays on the playgrounds coming up, but when did you realize that you had something special that was worthy of professional basketball?
I really never knew it. I just always envisioned myself playing at the next level and keep going, and that's kind of how I always thought about it. Never really thought to myself like, I'm good enough to play in the NBA now. Just try to get better and better each and every year, and then went from there, and then I end up, in the NBA.
Oh, what a move by Russell Westbrook.
I love that Grant asked that question about something special, because what I think is special is that we've gotten to watch Russell Westbrook now evolve into this player that has improved immensely over just the last year. And he tells us, it is the balance that he's still learning, when does he pass it, when does he take over the game, because he has that ability now to take over a game.
Yeah, one thing I love is the way that the games, whenever a game starts, what you're seeing from Russell more and more is he does such a great job of getting his teammates involved early, getting the offense flowing. Second half, he comes out, sees what type of adjustments the defense has made, and that's where he kind of picks and chooses his spots. Getting to the rim, it's like there's a magnetic force or something pulling him to that rim because he does such a good job of it. But he's really finding a pretty nice balance so far.
Yeah, and Coach Brooks even said, I don't make those calls anymore for him. That's Russell on his own making those calls in a game. Well, after a 5-game stint with the Tulsa 66ers, Cole Aldrich has returned to the Thunder. Cole received some quality playing time, averaging nearly 8 points and 7 rebounds in about 24 minutes of a game. And with the 66ers, just a few games into their new season, each member of the squad shared with us some unforgettable basketball memories that they believe have helped define them as players.
I think my best memory was when I first made the team, when I really actually didn't know anything about basketball, and I dunked in the 7th grade.
I think the biggest memory for me is probably winning a championship in middle school. That's the biggest memory for me, for growing up. I was kind of a raw player. I was just taller than everybody, but had a pretty good game.
Probably when I first dunked in the 8th grade, middle school championship game.
I scored 74 points one game. Basketball memories that stick up my head. Probably has to be a 6 overtime game that I had to sit through. Unfortunately, I couldn't play in, but it was probably the most exciting game that I sat there and watched, and it came down to a battle with us in Syracuse, and unfortunately we lost the game, but it was a tremendous battle out there by my teammates.
Winning the state championship, we was 29-0 in Indianapolis and ranked number 2 in the country.
I remember my first game I ever played, organized basketball, and the thing that sticks out from that game is how nervous I was at the free throw line.
Ahead on Thunder Insider.
I'm your substitute today, Mr. Steely. What's your question, young man?
Why is your head so big?
Because I'm a regional radio star, that's why.
Welcome back. The Thunder wrap up a week-long road trip Friday night in New Orleans before returning home for 4 straight. Oklahoma City hosts Cleveland Sunday, and then they face off against the Houston Rockets Wednesday evening in what will be their 3rd meeting this season. If you're still looking for a great Christmas gift idea, get the gift of Thunder basketball. Choose between 2 4-game ticket packages in which the first game can be either Christmas night or New Year's Eve. Go to thunder.nba.com or call 405-208-HOOP for more information. Can't get enough Thunder basketball? Then take part in our Watch and Win contest. The winner will receive a trip to Orlando to see the Thunder take on the Magic or get tickets to an upcoming home game. Go to thunder.nba.com and enter the code 7759 or text the code to 68278 for your chance to win. With All-Star voting underway, we want to make sure you know how you can vote and how you can send your favorite Thunder players to All-Star Weekend in LA. In this week's edition of Stealing the Mic, class is in session.
All right, good morning, class. Good to have you. Please take your seats. I'm your substitute today, Mr. Steely.
Good morning, Mr. Steely.
We have some very important lessons we're going to teach you today, and I need your participation, all right? What's your question, young man?
Why is your head so big?
Years and years of hoop knowledge.
Why do you get to wear a hat when nobody else does?
Because I'm a regional radio star, that's why. And you don't want to see this, do you? I'm here to teach you a lesson about a very important topic. I'm talking about NBA All-Stars today. Do you know how they get to become an All-Star?
They practice a lot.
Well, that's true, but it also takes your votes.
How do you vote?
Well, it's funny you ask, young man, because I have your answer right here. That's right. I have the 2011 official All-Star ballot for you right here. On this sample ballot, it's pretty simple, and you can get them at the arena, or if you go to our webpage, which is thunder.nba.com, all you have to do is pick 2 guards, 2 forwards, and 1 center. Does anybody know what 2 plus 2 plus 1 is? Anyone?
5.
That's exactly right. Nice job. Pass it back to our winner, please. Thank you. There's one other thing we need to know, okay? You have to pick 5 from the east and from the west. Anybody know what 5 plus 5 is?
That is 11. Wait, that's 10.
That is correct. $1 bill, y'all, for you guys. Very nice.
Yeah.
But can anybody tell me what Thunder players are on the ballot this year?
Kevin Durant?
Yes.
Jeff Green?
Very good, young lady. You're exactly right.
Pavel Cephalosha? Russell Westbrook?
Good job. You're all correct. Big money answers, what I'm talking about.
Mr. Steele, yeah, the principal would like to see you in his office.
Ooh, you're in trouble.
So what are you in for? Yeah, I expected a little more from a varsity letterman.
Mr. Steele, come here, please. Sir, we can't have people paying kids to do their work here at the school. What do you have to say for yourself?
I wanted the kids to like me. When I was in school, I had my lunch money stolen a lot.
What I think is you just need to stay with your day job at the radio station.
Yes, sir.
Hey, is there any way you can get me some autographs with the team?
Yeah, I'll get right on that for you.
All I know, if I'd have had a substitute teacher back in the day giving me money for right answers, I probably would have liked them a lot. But here's the question. Were you ever sent to the principal's office?
Once for skipping religion class.
Religion class, of all things.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. For those who don't know, Chris, total saint. Yeah. Don't forget, All-Star voting ends January 17th, so vote and vote often for your Thunder favorites. You can do it on thunder.nba.com or the concourse at the Oklahoma City Arena. Thanks again for joining us here at our Oklahoman studio for another edition of Thunder Insider presented by Integris Health. We'll see you here again next week with more on Thunder Basketball.